Samurais. Samurais were considered the army or military of the Japanese population. Japan created the greatest types of warriors in all of history. In the year 1160, the country of Japan had two powerful clans who fought in a war seeking victory. The leader of the Taira clan rounded up his soldiers to destroy the clan of the Minamoto. During the battle, few of the Minamoto warriors survived. Not even the chief made it out alive. Two of the chief's sons luckily escaped. They both made a vow to avenge their father. They would follow the path of honor or death, also known as the path of the samurai. The samurais were a class of warriors born to fight. Samurais had to live by a certain word called Bushido, which means the way of the warrior. This has been practiced since the 12th century. Included in this way of life was much loyalty, self-discipline, and respectable behavior. Bushido is more known as a way of life and not looked upon as a series of rules to be followed. Samurai warriors play a very important role based on the mind and heart of themselves. Respect for your weapon, regardless of the weapon, displayed the kind of person that you were. Not only that, but displayed the respect for your culture and fellow samurais. An example would be when we drive a car, we wouldn't be intoxicated. Well, a samurai wouldn't wield a sword without proper reverence either. Meaning a samurai wouldn't use his sword in a wrongful manner. This sounds really weird, but the samurais are very serious about their lifestyles. A samurai might even commit suicide if he felt he had embarrassed himself or others. This was called harakiri. The samurai would use his own sword to stab himself in the stomach in order to kill himself. When a samurai did this, it was a sign of honor rather than being disgraced. The becoming of a samurai. When a boy was born, he was given a sword. It wasn't a real sword, but it symbolized the type of life he was going to live. At the age of 3, they began training with their fathers. When boys turned 13, they were given a real sword, real armor, and a warrior name. They were brought up not to fear anything. They trained until they were about 20 years old. They were also expected to be able to read and write. The weapon that meant the most to them was the sword. Not only was it considered their most famous weapon, but also their most symbolic. They believed that the spirit of whom holds the sword is inside the sword, also saying the sword was the soul of the warrior. Samurai swords. There were different types of swords. They had the katana, also called the long sword. It had an extra long handle, which was single-edged. Names were given to the swords of the holder. They also had the short sword, otherwise known as the wakizashi. It was really short, almost dagger-like. When a samurai carried both, it was called daisho, which means big and small. Bows and arrows quickly came into place. Most samurais were on horses, and they would use bows and arrows. The arrows had short spikes at the end. A cool fun fact was that in 1867, they were banned from carrying swords, but many still secretly carry them. They hid them in such things as walking sticks. Samurai armor had many different styles, yet were always worn the same. They wore a helmet, shoulder guards, chest guards, a skirt, and 2 arm guards. The skirt protected their thighs. The boots that they wore had splints that were made of brass to protect their feet. The helmet of the samurai were not only designed for protection, but to protect the neck, a major vital spot that could mean life or death. Sometimes they would put a mask over the helmet to scare their enemies even more. After many battles in Japan, 250 years of peace fell amongst the Japanese. During this time, the importance of martial arts skills slowly faded and eventually were eliminated. Most Japanese people became teachers and artists. Finally, in 1868, the samurai class ceased to exist.